Hello and welcome to Nullitaire Gaming, where we play games with 0 players. Or in other words, we play bots against one another. No humans are allowed in our games. And in this series we're playing Imperium, both Classics and Legends. If you haven't seen the first few videos of this series, I recommend going back and starting from the beginning. Especially you should watch the first video where I explain how I put these bots up against each other, Nullitaire style. Setup and other things of that nature. So I'll put a link to the full playlist in the description of this video so you can go back and watch it from the beginning if you like. But so far we've been in the middle. We've started a tournament. We're putting all of these factions up against each other. We're just mixing them all together, and we're playing a single elimination tournament. We've played several games so far. And I'm going to show you the results of those now. So again, if you don't want to know the standings so far, go back and watch the previous videos. But this is where things stand right now. So we've played the first half of the first round, essentially. And the Arthurians, the Egyptians, the Persians, and the Atlanteans have moved on. The Vikings, Romans, Morians and Minoans have been eliminated. Alright, so in this game, in this video, we're going to play the Greeks versus the Olmecs, and we'll see who wins. Okay, the game is set up. As usual, it was determined randomly which player would go first, and the Greeks won the coin toss, so they will be the first player. And as usual, they're set up over here on the left, with their deck in line with the top row of cards, which will represent their hand. And the Olmecs will be second player over here on the right, and their deck is lined up with the bottom row, which is their hand. Okay, and a thing I'm trying here is I've put these post-it notes on here because I found that I sometimes have a habit of looking at the wrong chart and having to sort of remind myself which chart to look at. So I've decided I'm just going to put post-it notes right from the beginning on the charts that are not relevant. So I can only really look at and see the full chart that's relevant. And the same thing over here with the Olmecs. This is the chart that's relevant right now. So you know, if the Greeks become an empire, we can just move these because then this chart will be the relevant one. Okay, anyway, that's what those are all about. Okay, so the Greeks are up first. Here we go. The Greeks roll a 3, and their first card is Greek Mercenaries, which is an attack card. And that's the very first item, first priority for them. So discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. They can do that. Steal 2 materials. Well, they can't do that. The Olmecs don't have any materials. And you gain 1 population. Okay, so as always, when it says you and it's in this bold font, that refers to, well, it's meant to refer to the solitaire player, because these were designed for solitaire play. But for us, with Nullitaire, it refers to the other bot. So the Olmecs will gain a population. Okay, so the Greeks will discard the top 2 cards of their deck, and the Olmecs will gain a population. Next for the Greeks is Conquer, which is a barbarian card. Okay, so it's not attack, it's not fame, it's not glory, it's not advance. Okay, barbarian. Discard the top card of the bot deck and put this card in history. Okay, they can do that. The next card is a region card, Forest of Foloi. Sorry for the pronunciation, but that's the best I can do. Okay, a region card, so that will be here. Gain a material, play this card, and then exile a card from the market. And of course, when bots exile a card from the market, they take the card furthest to the left with no tokens on it. So Amphitheater here has a token, so they skip it, and the Macedonians will be exiled. Last card for the Greeks is City of Sparta, which is both pinned and a barbarian card. I think barbarian comes first. Yep, sure does. Okay, nothing else is relevant. Okay, discard the top card from the bot deck and put this card in history. Okay. That's the end of the turn for the Greeks, so they'll place a progress token on the 3 card in the market. They'll slide this down and refill their hand. They only have 1 card in their deck, though, so that's not going to quite get there. So they'll take the top card from the Dynasty deck, put it in the discard, and reshuffle. The Olmecs' turn now. They start by rolling a 5. And the first card is a region, Laguna de los Cerros. I guess that's probably close to right anyway. Okay. Alright, so region card. Gain 1 progress, play the region, exile a card from the market. They will exile the plane. The next card is Stone Mask, which has this mask icon on it, and that is their first priority. So discard the top card from the bot deck. Yes, they can do that. They have cards in their deck. Okay, that's all they'll do. The next card is another Stone Mask, so same thing. Discard a card from the top of the deck. And that's it. Just put that in discard. The next card is Lodestone Compass, which is a pinned card. So that says, if able, put a mask from discard into history. Yes, they can definitely do that. They have several in their discard pile. To acquire any card. Okay, otherwise, okay. So that's what they'll do. They'll take a mask card from their discard pile, put it into history, and then take a card from, acquire a card from the market. So they'll take the card from the market that's worth the most, and right now that's Mercenaries. These asterisks always count as 5, so this is worth 7. 5 plus 2 for the progress. So they're going to acquire this. Okay, this is the last card play for the Olmecs, so they'll place progress on the 5 card, slide that down, and they'll refill their hand. The Greeks now start their turn with a 4, and their first card is a region, Peloponnese. So they will gain a material, play this region, and exile a card from the market. So they will exile Espionage. The next card is Unrest, so it just goes back to the Unrest pile. And then Greek Mercenaries, which is an attack card. So that says, discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. Yes, they can do that. Steal 2 materials. They can't do that because the Olmecs don't have any. And the Olmecs gain a population, so they can do that. Last card for the Greeks is Advance, which I think is a named card for them. Yep, there it is. If able, spend 1 material to break through for a civilized card. Yes, they can do that. So that's what they'll do. There are 4 civilized cards in the market. Remember, don't look at the banners. I've made this mistake before. If you just look at the banners, you can mess this up. Look at the icons, because some of the green cards have the civilized and uncivilized icons. Okay, so all 4 of these are civilized cards. This one is worth 6, 5 for the asterisk, plus 1 for the progress. This one's worth 1, this one's worth 2, and this one's worth 1. Okay, so clearly this is the one they'll take, Amphitheater. Oops, I forgot. Because they're breaking through, they don't take the Unrest. They'll leave that behind. Okay, that's it for the Greeks. They will place progress on the 4 card in the market. Slide that down, and they'll refill their hand. They only have 2 cards, though, in hand, or sorry, in their deck. So they'll take the top card of the Dynasty deck, put it in discard, and shuffle. Okay, the Olmecs now, they start by rolling a 4, and they begin with a Stone Mask. And so, of course, that means they will discard the top card of their deck. And they do have cards in their deck, so they can do that. Next card is Unrest, so that just goes back to the Unrest pile. And then Mercenaries. Okay, which is an Empire card. Okay, so it's not a mask, it's not a region, it's not pinned, it's not cacao. Okay, so it gets to other. Place the top card from the Dynasty deck into discard. Okay, they can do that. The last card for the Olmecs is another Stone Mask. And this is kind of interesting because they don't have any cards in their deck anymore. So they can't discard the top card of the bot deck anymore. That means this does nothing. And when an instruction does nothing, what we do is we go back and we keep going down the list until we find the next relevant card icon, and then we do that. Okay, so we would continue on down the list here. Okay, it's not a region, it's not pinned, it's not cacao. So we get to other. And so this card will also take the top card from the Dynasty deck and put it into discard. So that's what they'll do. So the Olmecs are moving rapidly toward Empire, and but that's the end of their turn. So they will put Progress on the 4 card, slide this down, and now they don't have any cards in the discard pile, so now they'll take another card from the Dynasty deck. So that's 3 cards from the Dynasty deck in this single turn, and they'll shuffle. So the Greeks roll a 1 to start their turn, and they play the Amphitheater, which is a pinned and Empire card. So it's not attack, it's not fame, not glory, not advance, not barbarian, not region. It's pinned. Okay. Gain 1 material and 1 population and put this card into history. Okay, they can do that. Next card for the Greeks is Glory, which is a named card for them here. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Well, they can't do that. They only have 2 regions in play. Okay, so otherwise breakthrough for a civilized card. They can do that. Okay, the civilized card worth the most is Temple, because it has the asterisk, so that makes it worth 5. So they will break through for that. Next card is Advance, which is also a named card for the Greeks. If able, spend 1 material to break through for a civilized card. Oh, so they're going to do it again. I have to spend a material this time, and they do have some, so they can do that. Okay. Okay, this time the most valuable civilized card is Art, which is worth 3, so they'll break through for that. Last card for the Greeks is City of Athens, which is a pinned card. So that should be, yeah. Gain 1 material and 1 population, put this card into history. That's it for the Greeks, so they'll put Progress on the 1 card and refill their hand. The Olmecs roll a 5, and they start with, what a surprise, Stone Mask. Okay, so of course that means discard the top card of their deck. And they do have cards in their deck now because they just reshuffled, so they can do that. Next card for the Olmecs is Cacao, which is a named card for them. If able, return an Unrest from discard. No, they don't have any Unrest in discard. They only have 2 Stone Masks in there. Okay, so they can't do that. Gain 1 Progress, and you may return an Unrest. Okay, so that means that the Greeks can return an Unrest. I don't think they have any, but I'll have to check. In any case, the Olmecs will gain a Progress. So an interesting point here. It says you may return an Unrest card. Of course, that's referring to a solitaire player. And return for a player means return out of your hand. But clearly, that can't be how we'll interpret that for a bot, because their hand is, you know, that row of cards there. They don't actually have a hand, so to speak. But anyway, I was looking at the rules here for solitaire play, and it says return. If the bot returns an Unrest card, add it to the Unrest pile. Well, sure. But what does it mean for the bot to return an Unrest card? From where? From where does it return an Unrest card? I assume from its discard pile. Because that's the only sort of cards that are sort of face up that a player could see. So I think when it says you may return an Unrest card, we should interpret that in Nullitaire play to mean that the opposing bot will return an Unrest card from their discard pile. I think that is a reasonable interpretation. I mean, right now it's purely academic because the Greeks don't have any Unrest in their discard pile. But I thought I'd mention it, that it does need interpretation for Nullitaire play, because the way this is written is meant for a human player who would have a hand of cards, and it literally means return Unrest from your hand. Bots don't have hands, really, at least not that's visible. So I think we'll interpret that to mean return Unrest from the discard pile. In any case, that's the way we'll interpret it. And they don't have any, so nothing will happen there. Next card is Stone Mask, which of course means discard the top card from the bot deck, and they can do that. Last card for the Olmecs is Calendar, which is a pinned card. So if able, put a mask from discard into history to acquire any card. They can definitely do that. Okay, so that's what they'll do. The cards in the market right now are not particularly valuable. Everything's worth 1 or 2, so Metropolis is worth the most at 2 points, so they'll take that. Okay, that's the end of the Olmecs turn. They'll place progress on the 5 card. Slide this down and refill their hand. So the Greeks now, they begin with Art, which is a pinned card. It says, let's see, yeah, it's first priority. Gain 1 material and 1 population, put this card into history. Next card for the Greeks is Temple, which is also a pinned card. It has the Empire symbol, but I think pinned will be the priority, yes. Okay. So once again, gain 1 material and 1 population, put this card into history. The next card is Unrest, which will go back to the pile, and then, oh, more Unrest. Okay. Well, that's the end of the turn for the Greeks then. They'll place progress on the 1 card in the market. And they'll refill their hand, but they only have 1 card in their deck, so that means 1 more card from the Dynasty deck, and they'll shuffle. The Olmecs now also roll a 1, and they start with Unrest. And then Metropolis, which is pinned, and Empire. Okay, so I think pinned, yeah. If able, put a mask from discard pile into history to acquire any card. Yes, I'm pretty sure they still have masks in discard, so they'll do that. So the most valuable card in the market now is Moneylenders, which is worth 5, so they'll acquire that. Next card for the Olmecs is Mercenaries, which interestingly does not have the attack icon, but has the Empire icon. Okay, so I think that's going to get us all the way to Other. It's not a mask, it's not region, it's not pinned, it's not Cacao, Other. Place the top card from the Dynasty deck into discard. Okay, so they'll do that. Last card for the Olmecs is another Stone Mask, so of course they will discard the top card of their deck, and they can do that. Okay, the Olmecs are done with their turn, so place progress on the 1 card and refill their hand. The Greeks roll a 6, so they're going to play all their cards this turn, and they start with Settlers, which is a Barbarian card. So that says, discard the top card from the bot deck, put this card into history. Well, the bot deck is empty for the Greeks, so they can't do that. But they can put the card into history, and that's something, so this does something, that's what they'll do. Okay, next card is Greek Mercenaries, which is an attack card. So that says, discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. Again, that won't do anything, because the bot deck doesn't have any cards. Steal 2 materials, that won't do anything, because the Olmecs don't have any materials. And you gain a population. Okay, so the Olmecs gain a population. Again, that is something, so this does something, that's what's going to happen. Sort of a weird kind of mercenaries, you know, they show up and give the enemy population and then go away. But, you know, that's what happens sometimes. Okay, next card is Glory, which is a named card here. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top Fame card. No, they still only have 2 regions in play, so they can't do that. Otherwise, breakthrough for Civilized cards, so they'll do that. There are 2 Civilized cards in the market. The Leadership is worth 1 and Astronomy is worth 2, so they'll break through for Astronomy. Next is a region, Plains of Thessaly. So they will gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. So they will exile Leadership. Last card for the Greeks is Advance. There's a named card here. If able, spend 1 material to break through for a Civilized card. Yes, they can do that. There are 2 Civilized cards in the market. Urban Development is worth 5 and Pharmacy is worth 2, so they will break through for Urban Development. Okay, that's the end of the Greek turn. They rolled a 6, so they don't place any progress. They'll just refill their hand. They only have 2 cards in their deck, so they'll take the top card from the Dynasty deck, which is the Full Moon card. That means they are now an Empire. The Olmecs' turn now. They start by rolling a 1, and their first card is Moneylenders. just has the Empire symbol on it, so it's none of those. So we get to Other. Place the top card from the Dynasty deck into discard. The next card is Stone Mask, so we know what that means. Discard the top card from the bot deck. Problem is the bot deck doesn't have any cards, so once again we're sent down the list, get to Other, place the top card of the Dynasty deck into discard. Well, this time the top card from the Dynasty deck is San Lorenzo Tenochtitlan, which is their full moon card. So when it goes into discard, they become an empire. So they're now an empire too. So the next card for the Olmecs is Lodestone Compass, which is a pinned card. And now the Olmecs are a empire. That doesn't usually happen in the middle of a turn. But the Olmecs, you know, they play their own way. Okay, so Lodestone Compass is a pinned card. So let's see. It's not Fame, it's not Ritual Sacrifice, it's not a region, it's not Attack, it's not Cacao, it's not an uncivilized card, it's not a mask, it's pinned. Okay, here we go. Gain 1 progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. If able, return a mask from the discard pile to the top of your bot deck. Put this card into history. Alright, so we'll do this one at a time. They can definitely gain progress, they can definitely acquire an uncivilized card, they can definitely return a mask to the top of their deck, and they can definitely put this card into history. So they'll do all of that. So there are 2 uncivilized cards in the market. They're both worth 1 victory point. Neither has any tokens. So that means they'll take the one furthest on the left. Code of Laws. Last card for the Olmecs is Ball Games, which is also a pinned card. So I think we're going to get a repeat of that last card. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do all this again. Gain progress, acquire an uncivilized card, return a mask card from the discard to the top of their deck, and this card will go into history. Now there's only 1 uncivilized card in the market, so they'll acquire that, Invasion. Alright, that's the end of the Olmecs' turn. They will place progress on the 1 card in the market and refill their hand. The Greeks begin their next turn by rolling a 3, and they start with Urban Development, which is a Empire card. Okay, let's see. Yeah, nothing else is relevant. Okay, so if able, acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. There are 2 possible cards, so they'll take Pharmacy, which is worth more. The next card is Astronomy, which is pinned and Empire. Pinned comes first. Put this card in history. Okay, that's easy. The next card is Glory, which is a named card here. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top Fame card. They can do that now. They have 3 regions in play. So they'll abandon them by placing them in the discard pile. And they'll take the top Fame card on top of their deck. The last card for the Greeks is Greek Mercenaries, which is an attack card. So acquire any card, and you recall a pinned card. Okay, so that will force the Olmecs to recall a pinned card. Well, all region cards are pinned, so I guess that will force them to recall the 1 region they have in play. So the most valuable cards in the market right now are the Egyptians and Exports. Both have the asterisk, so they're both worth 5. So the first tiebreaker would be most tokens. They're the same. They both have 0. So the second tiebreaker is the one in the lowest slot, so the one furthest to the left. So they will acquire Egyptians. And now the Olmecs are forced to recall a pinned card. And this region is pinned, so they will recall it. Okay, that's the end of the Greeks' turn. So they place progress on the 3 card, and they'll refill their hand. The Olmecs' turn now. They roll a 2, and they play Stone Mask for their first card. And that says, let's see, it's way down here now. gain 1 progress, discard the top card of the bot deck. Okay, they can do that. Next card is Unrest. And then Invasion, which is an attack card. So attack here. Discard the top card from the bot deck. Yes, they can do that. If able, return an Unrest from the discard pile. Don't know if they have any. And you take Unrest, so that means the Greeks have to take Unrest. Well, as soon as they discarded a card, it was Unrest, so that will go back to the Unrest pile. Well, wait a minute. The Greeks have to take Unrest, so I guess it'll go there. Last card for the Olmecs is Stone Mask. And so again, they'll gain 1 progress and discard the top card of their deck. So that's it for the Olmecs. They'll place progress on the 2 card. Slide that down. And they don't have any cards left in their deck, so another card from Dynasty deck, and they'll shuffle. It's the Greek turn now. They also roll a 2. And they begin with Olympic Games, which has no symbols on it at all. So I think we're going to get all the way down to other. Yeah. Okay. If able, spend 3 population to acquire a tributary. Yeah, they could do that. Otherwise, whoa, lots of otherwise. Okay, so they'll just do the first thing. Spend 3 population to acquire a tributary. The only tributary in the market is Persians, so they will take that. Next card is a tributary, the Egyptians. So it doesn't look like tributaries. Tributary is not a symbol here. Okay, so it looks like this is going to end up being an other. Yeah. Okay, if able, spend 3 population to acquire a tributary. Well, they can't do that now for 2 reasons. They don't have 3 population, and there are no tributaries in the market. Okay. Otherwise, if able, spend 2 materials to acquire a civilized card. They can do that one, so they'll do that. There are 2 civilized cards in the market, these 2. This one's worth the most, it's worth 6, so they'll take exports. The next card for the Greeks is a Fame card, awe-inspiring. It's also pinned, but I think Fame is going to come up first. Yeah. Discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. They can do that. Gain 2 progress. They can do that. Put this card in history. They can do that. Last card for the Greeks is Unrest. So they'll place progress on the 2 card and refill their hand. The Olmecs roll a 3 to start their turn, and their first card is, you guessed it, Stone Mask. Okay, so as we recall, gain a progress and discard the top card of the bot deck. Next card is Moneylenders, which has the Empire symbol. I don't think they care about that. No, they don't. Alright, we get all the way down to Other. Gain a progress, put this card into history. Next card is Invasion, which is an attack and uncivilized card. They have both those symbols, but attack comes first. Discard the top card of the bot deck. If able, return Unrest from the discard pile, and the Greeks have to take Unrest. So they discarded a card, but they don't have any Unrest, so they can't get rid of any, but they could still force the Greeks to take Unrest. Last card for the Olmecs is Code of Laws, which is pinned and it's uncivilized. Okay, so I think uncivilized comes first. Yes. Okay, acquire any card, and then put this card into history. Okay, the card in the market worth the most right now is Oracle. It has the asterisk, so it's worth 5 plus 1, so that's 6. They'll acquire that. Okay, that's the end of the Olmecs' turn. They will put a progress on the 3 card and refill their hand. Okay, the Greeks roll a 2 and start with Unrest. And then Persians, a tributary card. But they don't care about tributary, I don't think. No. And Persians doesn't have any other icons, so they'll get down to Other. If able, spend 3 population to acquire tributary. They don't have 3 population. Otherwise, spend 2 materials to acquire a civilized card. Yes, they can do that. There are 3 civilized cards in the market. This one's worth 1. These 2 are both worth 2. This is 1 plus the progress, so they're both 2. So the first tiebreaker is whichever one has the most tokens, so that'll be this one. Next card is Unrest. And then lastly, Pharmacy, which is pinned, and Empire. Pin comes first, I believe. Yeah. Put this card in history. Alright, easy. That's it for the Greeks. Place progress on the 2 card and refill their hand. The Olmecs roll a 4 and begin with a region, Laguna de los Cerros. And so, let's see what happens. Region. Gain 1 progress, play the region, exile a card. So the first card without any tokens is Jade Mask, so that will be exiled. The next card is Unrest. And then, oops, Oracle, which is an uncivilized card and barbarian. Okay, so uncivilized comes up first. Acquire any card and put this card into history. Well, finally, this region over here that's been racking up the progress tokens is worth the most in the market. This one's worth 3. This is 2. This is 1. This is 2. So the river, worth 4 progress, 4 victory points, will be the card they acquire. Last card for the Olmecs is Stone Mask. So we know what that means. Gain a progress and discard the top card of the bot deck. That's the end of the turn for the Olmecs, so place progress on the 4 card and refill their hand. It's the Greeks' turn now. They roll a 4 and start with Unrest. And then more Unrest. And okay, Leadership. Which doesn't have any icons on it except for civilized and uncivilized. But I don't think the Greeks care about that. No. Alright, so we're going to get to Other. If able, spend 3 population to acquire a tributary. No, they don't have that much population. Otherwise, if able, spend 2 materials to acquire a civilized card. They don't have 2 materials. Otherwise, return an Unrest from the discard pile if able. I'm not sure if they have Unrest in the discard pile. I'll have to look. Otherwise, gain 1 progress and put this card into history. Alright, so I'll look and see if they have any Unrest in their discard pile. Okay, they did have Unrest in their discard pile. They had 1 in there, so they returned that. Okay, so that's all that's going to happen with this card. Last card for the Greeks is Advance, which is a barbarian card. Okay, so discard the top card from the bot deck. Well, they don't have any cards in their deck, so they can't do that. But they can put this card into history, so that's what they'll do. Okay, that's the end of the Greek turn, so they'll place progress and then refill their hand. But they don't have any cards in their deck, so another card off the Dynasty deck, and they'll shuffle. The Olmecs start their turn by rolling a 4, and their first card is Stone Heads, which is pinned and Empire. Okay, let's see. Looks like pinned comes up first, yes. Okay, gain 1 progress. If able, acquire a uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. If able, return a mask from the discard pile to the top of the bot deck. They can do that. Put this card in history. They can do that. So they're going to do all these things. There are 2 uncivilized cards in the in the market. City, which is worth 1, and Diplomacy, which is worth 3 because it has 2 progress on it. So they're going to acquire this one. Okay, the next card for the Olmecs is Mercenaries, which is a civilized and empire card, but I don't think, yeah, I don't have any of those symbols here. So we're at Other. Gain 1 progress and put this card into history. The next card is Unrest. And then finally, Cookout. So that's a named card here. If able, return an Unrest from discard. Not sure about that, I'll have to look. Gain 1 progress, and you may return an Unrest. So that means the the Greeks can return an unrest. They don't have a discard pile right now, so they won't do that. But in any case, the Olmecs will at least gain a progress here. I'll see if they have any unrest in their discard pile. They did not have any unrest in their discard pile, so they simply gained a progress from that card. Okay, that's the end of their turn, so they'll place progress on the 4 card and refill their hand. The Greeks roll a 6 this time, so they're going to play all their cards, starting with unrest. And then Forest of Follet. Okay, a region card. So that says discard the top card from the bot deck. Play this region, exile a card from the market. So they will exile City. The next card is a tributary card, the Egyptians. But the Greeks don't have tributary on there. Okay, so it's going to be treated as other. Okay, if able, spend 3 population, they don't have that many. If able, spend 2 materials, they don't have that many. Otherwise, return an unrest from the discard pile of able. They don't have unrest in the discard pile because they just reshuffled, so they only have 1 card in the discard pile right now. Okay, so they won't do that. Otherwise, gain a progress and put this card into history. Okay, so it'll be the last thing. The next card is a region card, Plains of Thessaly. So region, discard the top card from the bot deck, play the region, exile a card from the market. So this time they exile the Armenians. And the last card is another region, so we'll have another repeat. Discard the top card, play the region, exile a card. And they'll exile the Chin this time. Okay, that's it for the Greeks. They don't place progress because they rolled a 6. They just refill their hand. The Olmecs say we can do that too. They also rolled a 6, so they're going to play all of their cards. Starting with Stone Mask. So they'll gain a progress and discard the top card of their deck. Hey, and what a surprise. Next card is also a Stone Mask. So same thing. Gain a progress. Sorry, do these in order. And discard the top card of their deck. Next card is Unrest. And then Diplomacy, a civilized card. So that will be there. Okay. Acquire any card and put this card into history. Well, these 2 cards are worth the most in the market. Phoenicians is worth 3 victory points. And Corruption is worth 2, plus it has 1 for the progress token. So these are tied at 3 each. So first tiebreaker is the one with the most tokens, so that'll be Corruption. I'll take that one. Last card is another Stone Mask for the Olmecs. So they'll gain a progress. Discard the top card of their deck. And that will be the end of their turn. Since they rolled a 6, they don't place progress. They'll just refill their hand. Their deck was a little short for refilling their hand, so another card off the Dynasty deck, and they'll reshuffle. It's the Greeks' turn now. They roll a 5, and they'll start with Olympic Games, which doesn't have any icons on it at all. So we'll get all the way to Other. If able, spend 3 population to acquire tributary. No, they don't have that much. If able, spend 2 material. They don't have that much. Otherwise, return unrest from the discard pile. No, there's definitely no unrest in their discard pile. Otherwise, gain 1 progress and put this card into history. Okay, so they'll do that. Next card is a tributary, the Persians. And once again, I think we're going to get all the way down to Other. Yep. And so they don't have 3 population, they don't have 2 materials, they don't have unrest in their discard pile, so they'll take a progress and put this card into history. Philosophy. One of my favorite things, since I have a PhD in that subject. Okay, the philosophy card has only the Empire symbol on it, no other symbols. Okay. So that's going to be here. If able, acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. Yeah, they can do that. So we have 3 cards to choose from here. Cannot here is worth the most. It has the asterisk. So they'll take that. Next card is Exports, which has the attack symbol. There. Okay. So acquire any card, and you recall a pinned card. Okay, so that means the Olmecs will have to recall a pinned card. And they do have a region in play, so they'll have to recall it. Okay, but the Greeks will acquire a card first. The card worth the most right now is Phoenicians at 3, so they'll take that. And the Olmecs will have to recall their region. So that's the end of the Greek turn. They place progress and refill their hand. The Olmecs roll a 5, and they begin with corruption, which is attack and empire. Okay, so attack. Discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return an unrest from the discard pile and force the Greeks to take unrest. They don't have any unrest in their discard pile, but they'll force the Greeks to take unrest. Next card is a region, Leventa. So gain a progress, play the region, exile a card. They will exile religion. The next card is calendar, which is a pinned card. It's all the way down here. Nothing else is relevant. Okay. Gain 1 progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. If able, return a mask from discard pile to the top of the bot deck. I don't think they can do that. I don't think they have any masks in the discard pile. And this card will go into history. There are 2 uncivilized cards, Port, which is worth 1, and City, which is worth 2 because of the progress token. So they'll take City. Last card for the Olmecs is Invasion, which is an attack card. So discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return an unrest from the discard pile and force the Greeks to take unrest. So as soon as they discard the top card, it was unrest, so it goes back to the discard, the unrest pile, but then the Greeks have to take some unrest, so it goes there. Okay, that's it for the Olmecs, so they'll place progress on the 5 card and refill their hand. Okay, the Greek turn now. They roll a 4, and they start with urban development, which is an empire card. Okay, so if able, acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. There are 3 cards in the market that are civilized or uncivilized. The one worth the most is Watermill. It has an asterisk, so it's worth 5. Next card is Unrest. And then Phoenicians, a tributary card, which means we go all the way to Other again. Okay, they don't have 3 population to spend, they don't have 2 materials to spend, they don't have unrest in their discard pile, so they'll gain a progress and put this card into history. Last card for the Greeks is Kanat, which is pinned. Okay, so this card goes into history. That's all that happens. Okay, that's the end of the Greek turn. They place progress and refill their hand. The Olmecs roll a 1. And they start with the City card, which is an uncivilized and civilized card, and it's pinned. Okay, but I think uncivilized will come first. Yep. So acquire any card and put this card into history. The card worth the most in the market right now is this region card, Mountain, with 4 progress tokens on it. So they will take that. The next card is Stone Mask. We know what that means. Gain a progress and discard the top card from the bot deck. Metropolis is next. Pinned and Empire card. Okay, so I think pinned would be our choice. Yep. Gain progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yeah, they can do that. If able, return a mask from discard to the top of the bot deck. They can do that. Put this card in history. Alright, so they'll do all these things. They'll acquire City. That's worth 2 victory points. Okay, last card for the Olmecs is another Stone Mask. So that means gain a progress, discard the top card of their deck. That's the end of the Olmecs' turn, so they'll place progress on the 1 card and refill their hand. The Greeks begin their turn by rolling a 4, and their first card is Unrest. And then more Unrest. And a Watermill. Alright, so this is pinned card. Okay, so just put it into history. That's it. Wow, the Greeks have had a real eventful turn here, huh? Just getting rid of some unrest. Okay, so that's the end of their turn. Place progress on the 4, and they will refill their hand. But their deck is empty, so they'll take a Dynasty card and shuffle. The Olmecs roll a 6, so they'll play all their cards, starting with a River, a region card. So they'll gain a progress, play the region, and exile a card. So they will exile Sacred Pass. The next card is Unrest, and then City, which is pinned and also an uncivilized card. So uncivilized. Acquire any card and put this card into history. So all 3 of these cards are worth 2. This one's 1, has 1 written on it, plus the progress is 2. This one has a question mark, and we always use the highest number written for question mark, so 2. So it doesn't matter if this is in history or not, it's worth 2 victory points for bots. And this one has 2 written on it. So these are all worth 2. So the first tiebreaker is whichever one has the most tokens, so that's Port. I'll take that one. The next card is Unrest. And then Olmec Traders. So this is an attack card. You know, those traders always attacking people. Okay. Discard the top card from the bot deck. If able, return an Unrest card from the discard pile, and then the Greeks will have to take Unrest. So the card discarded is Unrest, so they'll return that and then give it to the Greeks. That's it for the Olmecs. They don't place progress because they rolled 6. They'll just refill their hand. The Greeks roll a 5, and they start with some Unrest. And then Leadership, which I think will just be an other for them. Doesn't have any icons besides civilized and uncivilized. So, okay. They don't have 3 population, they don't have 2 materials, they don't have any unrest in their discard pile because they don't have a discard pile right now. So they'll just gain 1 progress and put this card into history. Next card is Exports, which has the attack symbol. Just like those traders, exporters always attacking people, right? Okay. Alright, so acquire any card and force the Olmecs to recall a pinned card. So these cards are worth the most. They're both worth 2. The first tiebreaker is most tokens. They're the same. They have 0. So the second tiebreaker is whichever one's in the lower slot. So they'll take Town. And the Olmecs will be forced to recall River. The next card is Glory. So for the Greeks, that means if able to abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card, they can do that. They have 3 regions in play. So that's what they'll do. So they've abandoned the regions they had in play, and they'll take the top fame card. So that's the end of the turn for the Greeks. They place progress and refill their hand. The Olmecs start their turn by rolling a 4, and their first card is Port, which is pinned and uncivilized. So uncivilized comes first. Yep. Okay, acquire any card and put this card into history. Well, the market is full of a bunch of regions now. These are worth nothing. This is worth 1 because of the progress. This is worth 2 because of the progress. And the onager here is worth 2. So these 2 are tied. First tiebreaker is most tokens, so fortified region. Next card is Olmec Hieroglyphics, which is a pinned card. Don't think anything else is relevant. No. Gain 1 progress. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. There aren't any in the market, so they can't do that. If able, return a mask from discard pile to the top of the bot deck. They can probably do that. And put this card into history. The next card is Cacao, which is a named card for them. If able, return an unrest from discard. I don't know if they have any unrest in their discard pile. I'll have to check. Gain a progress, and you may return an unrest. So if the Greeks have unrest in their discard, they'll also return 1. Okay, neither bot had unrest in their discard pile, so all that happened is the Olmecs got a progress token. That's it. Okay, last card for the Olmecs is a Stone Mask. We know what that means. Gain progress, discard the top card of the bot deck. So the Olmecs place progress, and they'll refill their hand. It's a Greek turn once again. They roll a 2, and they start with Urban Development, which is an Empire card. So it'll be here. If able to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. Yeah, they could do that. There is exactly one non-region card to this one. Onager, which is civilized, so they'll take it. Next card is Unrest. And then Town, which is Barbarian and Pinned. Okay, Barbarian comes up first. Discard the top card from the bot deck, put this card into history. And the last card for the Greeks is Unrest. Okay, that's the end of the turn for them, so they'll place progress on the 2 card and refill their hand. The Olmecs now roll a 1, and their first card is Fortified Region. So that means gain a progress, play the region, and exile a card. So they will exile the forest. Next card is another region, so we should have a repeat here. Gain a progress, play the region, exile a card. So they will exile boats. A Stone Mask is the next card. So gain a progress, discard the top card of the deck. Last card for the Olmec is San Lorenzo Tenochtitlan, which is a pinned card. I think that's the only relevant symbol. Yeah. Gain a progress if able to acquire an uncivilized card. They can't, there aren't any in the market right now. If able to return a mask from discard pile to the top of the bot deck, they can do that. And put this card into history. So that's the end of the turn for the Olmec. They'll place progress, 1 card in the market, and they'll refill their hand. They only have 1 card in their deck, so they take the top card from the Dynasty deck and they'll reshuffle. The Greeks roll a 2 and start with the Fame card, Triumphant. And so discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. Well, they don't have any cards in their deck right now. Their deck's empty, so they can't do that. Gain 2 progress, put this card into history. Okay, well they can do those things, so that's all that'll happen here. Next card is Pericles, which is an Empire card. So I believe that will be, if able to acquire an uncivilized or a civilized card. Well, they can't, because there are no civilized or uncivilized cards in the market. There are nothing but tributaries and regions. Okay, so we carry on. Other. If able to spend 3 population, they don't have that many. Otherwise spend 2 materials, they don't have that many. Otherwise return unrest from the discard pile if able. They do have unrest in their discard pile, so they'll do that. Here's Philosophy again, an Empire card. So we should have a repeat of the last card. If able to acquire civilized or uncivilized, they can't because there are none in the market. So we get to Other. They can't spend 3 population. They can't spend 2 materials. I'm not sure now if they have unrest in their discard pile, so I'm going to have to check that. Okay, I checked it. They do not. I knew last time that they did because it was right on top. But now they don't have any unrest in their discard pile. So, otherwise, gain a progress and put this card into history. So they'll do that last thing. Last card for the Greeks is Greek Mercenaries, which is an attack card. So, acquire any card and force the Olmecs to recall a pinned card. So right now the Assyrians are worth the most at 3, so they'll take that. And they will force the Olmecs to recall a region. That's the end of the turn for the Greeks. They'll place progress and refill their hand. But they only have 2 cards in their deck, so another Dynasty card, and they'll shuffle. The Olmecs start by rolling a 1, and they play Stone Mask first. So we know what that means. Gain progress and discard the top card of the deck. The next card is Corruption, which is Attack and Empire. I think Attack comes first, yeah. Discard the top card of the bot deck. If able, return Unrest to the discard pile And the Greeks have to take unrest. So they discarded the top card, but they don't have any unrest in their discard pile. So the Greeks will take some unrest. That'll be the end of that card. Next card is Invasion, which is also an attack card. So it should be the same thing. Discard the top card of the bot deck, if able return unrest, and the Greeks take unrest. So same thing, they discarded a card, but they don't have any unrest in their discard pile, so the Greeks will take some unrest. And that'll be it for that card. Last card for them is a region, Laguna de los Cerros. So for a region, they gain progress, play the region, and exile a card. So they will exile Metropolis. Okay, there's only one card left in the main deck, so we're getting very close to the end of this, what seemed like a very long game. But we're almost there. Okay, so they'll place progress on the one card and refill their hand. Okay, the Greeks roll a 1, and their first card is Unrest. Next card is Assyrians, tributary card. So that should get us all the way to Other, I think. Yes. Okay, they don't have any population. Well, they have 1 population, but not 3. They don't have materials. They don't have any unrest in their discard pile because they don't have a discard pile right now. So they'll gain 1 progress, and this card will go into history. Next card is a region card, Forest of Foloe. So region card, discard the top card of the bot deck, play the region, exile a card from the market. So they will exile Carthaginians. And that's the last card from the main deck. So that triggers game end. We will finish this round with the Olmecs turn, and then we'll play 1 more round. So the Greeks will get another turn, the Olmecs will get another turn. And then that's it, we'll score the game. Last card this turn for the Greeks is Glory. So, if able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Well, the Greeks only have 1 region in play, so they can't do that. Otherwise, gain 2 progress. So they'll do that. Okay, that's it for the Greek turn, so they'll place progress and then refill their hand. The Olmecs roll a 4 and start with a Stone Mask. So, of course, that means they'll get a progress, discard the top card of their deck. The next card is Ritual Sacrifice. I was wondering if this was ever going to show up because it's a named card on this chart. Okay, if able, put a mask from the discard pile into history to gain the top fame card. Yeah, they definitely have masks in the discard pile, so they can do that. Otherwise, discard, blah, blah. Okay, so they're going to take a mask from the discard pile, put it into history, and gain the top fame card. Okay, they put a mask into history, so now they take the top fame card, and that's it for Ritual Sacrifice. Next card is Mountain, a region card. So they'll gain a progress, play the region, and exile a card from the market. They will exile Etruscans. Last card for the Olmecs is Cacao. So that's, if able, return an unrest from the discard. I don't know if they have any unrest in their discard pile, I'll have to check. But they can definitely gain progress. They love gaining progress, so they can do that. And I think the Greeks do have unrest in their discard, so they'll return that. Okay, that's it for the Olmecs. So they'll place progress on the 4 card, and they'll refill their hand. They only have 1 card in their deck, though. So, another Dynasty card, and shuffle. Alright, so it's the last round of the game. The Greeks get 1 more turn, the Olmecs get 1 more turn, and then that's it. We'll tally the scores and see who wins. So the Greeks roll a 3, and they begin with Onager, which is an attack card. So they will acquire any card, and force the Olmecs to recall a pinned card. Well, there's nothing but regions in the market. Only one of which actually has any written victory points on it, this one. But the rest of them have lots of progress. So there's 2 of them with 3 because they have 3 progress tokens. So those are tied for the most. First tiebreaker is most tokens. They're tied there too. So they'll take the one furthest on the left, which is Rainforest. And the Olmecs will have to recall their latest region. Next card is Unrest. And then Greek Innovation, which is another attack card. So same thing. They'll acquire any card and force the Olmecs to recall a region. Okay, so now the card worth the most is Floodplain, so they'll take that. And the Olmecs have to recall another region. Last card for the Greeks is Pericles, which is an Empire card. So if able, acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. Well, they can't do that. Okay, so we're at Other. If able, spend 3 population, can't do that. If able, spend 2 material, can't do that. If able, return Unrest from the discard pile. I don't think they have any. No, they don't have any Unrest in their discard pile. Okay. So they'll just gain a progress and put this card in history. Okay, well that's it for the Greeks. They'll place progress on the... Oh. Okay, well they won't do that. Alright, so they'll just refill their hand. So the Olmecs begin their last turn by rolling a 3, and they start with a Stone Mask. So we know what that means. Gain progress, discard the top card of the deck. Next card is a Fame card, Marvelous. So Fame, put this card into history. Okay. If able, put a mask from discard pile into history to acquire any card. Otherwise, if able, return Unrest from the discard pile. Okay, well they can definitely put a mask from the discard pile into history, so they'll do that. I'm just wondering why they put this card into history first. That's weird. They put that last. Okay, anyway, this card will go to history, then they'll take a mask from the discard pile, put it into history to acquire any card. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. Well, the only 2 cards left in the market are both worth 2 victory points right now, so first tiebreaker is most tokens, so they'll take this one. Next card is Invasion, which is an attack card. So discard the top cards in the bot deck. If able, return Unrest from the discard pile, and then force the Greeks to take Unrest. So after discarding, they don't have any Unrest in their discard pile, so the Greeks are forced to take Unrest. Okay, the last card of the game is Corruption, which is also an attack card, so we're going to get a repeat. Discard the top card of the bot deck, if able, return Unrest, and force the Greeks to take Unrest. So they discard the top card, but they don't have any Unrest, and now the Greeks take some Unrest. That's it there. They would place Progress on the 3 card, but there isn't a 3 card, so they'll just slide this down, and they'll refill their hand. They have plenty of cards to do that, so that's the end of the game. Alright, time to tally the scores. See who won. Okay, it's time to tally the scores, and as usual I just kind of do it 1 for 1, matching 1 for 1, rather than adding everything up and comparing. And the first thing to notice is that, well, this is really unbalanced. The Olmecs just have so much progress. I mean, so much so that I ran out of these 10 value progress tokens. And, you know, the Greeks only got 1. The Olmecs took all the rest of them. And the reason is clear. I mean, if you think about, you know, the way the Olmecs chart was, I mean, it's like gain progress, gain progress, gain progress, gain progress, gain progress. It's like almost every card they played, they got progress, you know? So they just really raked in progress. Okay, so let's match them up 1 for 1. We can take 10 from each side here. This is another 10 and 10. Okay, 5 and 5. All right, so I'm going to have to break that one. Make change for that one. Okay, and these, you need 10 of these tokens to make them worth anything, so these aren't worth anything. Okay, so I'll make some change here. Okay, so I found enough cards in the Greek deck to counterbalance all this progress. So this is 29 victory points here. And the Greeks had these 2 fame cards worth 18 points collectively, so that was quite a haul there. These 2 asterisk cards are worth 5 each, so that's 28, and then 1 is 29. Okay, so that all balances that out. The Greeks also had 2 unrest cards left over in their deck, so I found 4 victory points worth of cards there to counterbalance that. Okay, it's now time to settle the score. So as usual, I've lined these up next to each other, one for one. And we'll just go down the line and see who has cards left over at the end. Whoever does, that's the winner. Okay, so each of these sets is worth the same amount all the way down the line. These are asterisk cards, all worth 5. Okay. Lots of cards in this game. Okay, those are all equal. These are equal. All these stone masks are worth 1 point each. So those are equal. And in the end, the Olmecs win by 3 victory points. That was way closer than I expected it to be with all that progress. But the Greeks had a whole lot of victory points in their hand. So the Olmecs actually barely squeaked it out with a win by 3 victory points. Okay, there you have it. The Olmecs win. So that's our game. The Olmecs move on, and the Greeks are eliminated. Next game will be the Scythians versus the Macedonians. Hope to see you then.